Good day, everybody. I hope you're doing really well. And I was working through my slide deck because it comes out in a couple weeks in our Advanced Somatic Nutrition Skills course I have going on right now, and working on ARFID. And what's really interesting about ARFID is that it shows up in our cases with disordered eating a lot more than we think. And I just want to give you a few insights about, one, kind of what you're looking at, and if this is like restrictive eating disorder, disordered eating, ARFID, a mix, and then what are some insights that you can start with, because a lot of times our clients have been struggling forever, and things have kind of fallen flat. So let's just get started in that really quick, so you know, and maybe you can help triage to your clients, and that's kind of what I'm teaching in this course. So anyway, we often see our clients who struggle with food aversions and food. The biggest thing you're going to see with folks is that there's so much rigidity, and when they get in overwhelming circumstances like too loud, too loud at restaurants, they don't want to eat, or people literally do choke and gag and start to feel sick to their stomach even before they start to eat something, because they're anticipating pain, they're anticipating gagging, so they just don't want to go there. Now, there's all kinds of other symptoms I could list, but if you start to see people come to you and they're frustrated with their lack of ability to thrive in social situations with food, they're fearful about nutrition, they get a lot of grief from people that they don't eat normally. They're having some health concerns because they just don't eat enough. They feel tired and weak and unfocused. And they have a desire to feel well, and if they gain some weight, great. You're probably working with an ARFID case, whether it's kids, teenagers, adults, and I've seen it across the board. I don't work with kids usually under 12 at this point anymore, but I've seen it in those kids. Sometimes the parents, not sure if it's an eating disorder, they call it picky eating, it's just been a struggle. And some of the things you can ask right off the bat is, are there other things that feel too much? Or other ways in which you're seeing that it doesn't feel like there's ever enough, in terms of there's a lot of you wanting stimulation, whether it's chewing or it's noise or it's activity, or it's the opposite, where really just kind of pushing back really with some activity. Don't want to do as much social things, feeling it's not shyness, it's really just overwhelm, whether it's crowds, whether it's sounds, of course food textures, those kind of things. And what's tricky about it, if you're working with the kiddos, that they do need to do some sensory work, and I highly recommend you take them, help their parents get them to referral for an occupational therapist. Now, I have actually not met very, very many occupational therapists, and I've talked to a handful that know anything about eating disorders at all. And the standard approach is typically to do food exposures, but a lot of times people move too fast, and there's not enough regulation on board to do some of that successfully. They'll do it, but for rewards stickers and other kind of stuff, but it's there's not really there's not really capacity, there's not enough body movement. So I highly recommend that you're informing the parents, really talk to the occupational therapist about what they do to help just overall organize and regulate the body, and that will help with the food. When we're working with more older adolescents and adults, I'm doing the same thing. It's very rare that you can find an occupational therapist that does this stuff with adults. So you can local occupational therapists that you have a good rapport with, that you feel like you're a good match with, educate them about where you're seeing the intersection with picky eating and food and fears, and how much of it is about fear of weight gain, about trauma, or how much of it is sensory processing, and help the occupational therapist have some understanding to be willing to do some consults with your adults. Now, what can you do? I want you to remember that I was looking at a study this morning, and it looks like this one study from 2014, the Journal of Eating Disorders. There was a very small little cohort of, they followed people for about 4 years, of the prevalence of ARFID in people who had been admitted to eating disorder facilities. So that means a lot of people, it's 22% of people in that 4-year period met the criteria for ARFID. So that means that eating disorder facilities really aren't equipped to be able to work with that population as of yet. Now I'm hoping that you all start to, again, up your level of understanding and your clinical counseling skills. And I'm happy to help you with that if you want to reach out. But when I work with people in the outpatient setting with ARFID, I'm doing a lot of regulation work and a lot of kind of like just learning how to feel less anxious in my presence and in the environment that they're in, and then working our way around food and building regulation. So that means you're going to be using a lot of times people's near and far senses, which again I teach all about in the somatic training course I'm doing right now. And again, I'll be running that next very, very early September 2020. So put that on your calendar if you're interested to learn more about some of the things that I'm teaching in this course. But just like anything else, our people's bodies need to feel safe to be able to reduce the stimuli inside. And then people are going to be more likely to want to try some new things and to have a good experience. So those are some of my insights for you today, recognizing that you're probably bumping up into people who maybe have a dual diagnosis of an eating disorder that's got the regular criteria like fear of weight gain and healthy versus unhealthy eating, that kind of stuff. You're going to have some of that in your ARFID population, and sometimes you're going to have people just with ARFID. And if we make too big a deal about weight and all this kind of stuff, I don't want to introduce that. Hi Lisa, welcome, and I'm glad you came live. I'm getting ready to hop off the meeting, but if you have any questions about this topic, please watch the whole video and then come back around and tag me and I will answer your questions. So as I wrap up here, you will have clients who have like diagnostic criteria for different kinds of eating disorders and ARFID, and you're also going to have just straight up ARFID. And I do things differently. Now, I do all the same kind of regulation stuff that I would do with all eating disorder clients and all non-diet clients and intuitive eating coaching clients. But with ARFID, there's less of a fear about weight gain, and there are more eating challenges like, fear, gagging, choking, GI issues even before the meal is eaten. You might see some of that with eating disorders, but really it's more of an ARFID kind of thing. And it all goes back to regulation and organizing the nervous system to build some resiliency for change. And so if you have any more questions about that, please let me know, because it is a challenge to work with this population because it's not well studied or understood. And really, personally, I borrow a lot from the occupational therapy world to help with their food. So thank you all so much for watching. And if it's a replay, put replay down below. And if you have any questions, please let me know. I will talk to y'all in the next video. Bye for now.